everyone, I'm Sarah Jackson and I wrote my research paper and my PowerPoint over the Tibetan tribe. So we'll just click and here's the overview, and the overview consists of environment and land, material cultures, customs, and then the struggle and successes that the Tibetan Indigenous people saw. So if we just click, if I can find the mouse right here. So environment and land. The Tibetan people are indigenous to Tibet and surrounding areas stretching from Central Asia in the north and west to Myanmar and China proper in the east. Before the 20th century, they were nomadic people who relied on subsistence agriculture, primarily based on herding domestic animals like sheep, which are pictured in both of these pictures. The sole reliance on crops and their herd of animals for their food can create really harsh conditions for them. So we're going to go ahead and click home. We're going to click on material culture. So material culture, I have pictured is their traditional wear, and their backs are toward us. I thought it was a really neat picture. So the Tibetan clothing represents everything they embody. They bring in parts of their history, their beliefs, and even heroes they portrayed in their culture, which is really neat. Traditionally, Tibetan clothing consists of a robe and shirt. The Tibetan robe worn by men is broad and is normally fastened under the right arm, while the women's clothing are slightly narrower with or without sleeves. The robes are often fastened with two cloth belts. The shirts are also fastened to the right. Men typically wear white shirts with high collars, while women wear various colors with turned down collars, which is very interesting. I wouldn't have picked up on that. So we're going to go ahead and press home. And we're going to go ahead and go to customs. So the customs, this is a picture from, the picture is from Tibetan New Year. So that's really neat. So during all the periods of Tibetan history, Tibetan law based on Buddhism were administered in Tibetan courts by officials of the various Tibetan governments. The Chinese did not think of the Tibetans as accepting of their laws, and the Tibetans didn't even know what the laws of China was, so they could care less. Here are the festivals and entertainment they do. So we have the Tibetan New Year, Tibetan Opera, and the Shoton Festival. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but the Shoton Festival. And here's a little overview of each one of those. So the Tibetan people celebrate Tibetan New Year, also known as Losar Festival, which was adopted from the Chinese calendar. Who would have guessed? Based on the Tibetan calendar, annual New Year celebration begins on December 29th and lasts 2 weeks. The Tibetan opera, called Lamo or Ace Lamo, is a source of entertainment where they sing, dance, chant, and produce a drama to tell stories that have to do with either Tibetan history or the Buddhist teaching, which is pretty cool. The Shoton Festival, which was once a religious festival, became a special festival occasion of Tibetan opera joint performance, during which many professional and amateur trapeze were summoned to Lhasa, Lhasa, to entertain the Dalai Lama and his followers, which is really interesting because Dalai Lama comes up into our next overview, which is the struggle and successes. So that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and click home. Let's click struggle and successes. Here we are. So the struggle and successes. Modern Tibetan culture has been subjected to strong disintegrating influences, including the obvious trauma of loss of independence. These influences can be classified in 3 broad categories, each potentially terminal impact, which is kind of scary. Chronologically, they include 1. Chinese colonialism, 2. Communist Chinese minority policies attempting to build socialism in Tibet, and 3. Modernization, including the impact of communications, media, and tourism. That is pretty scary. Modernization can really threaten your self-efficiency, and you get a lot of loss of autonomy. So this is where you see the successes. Dalai Lama the 13th noticed the loss of autonomy, and here's what happened. In 1912, the 13th Dalai Lama re-established Tibetans' independence and continued fighting for their independence even today with the 14th Dalai Lama. I have pictured is the 14th Dalai Lama right here. And then just our last slide is my references that I use. I hope everyone has a good rest of the semester. Bye, guys.